Hello, good morning, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Kimani, Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, University of Nairobi. So, before we start, kindly remember to subscribe, share, and comment. Remember, when you subscribe, anytime I upload a new video, you'll be the first one to be informed there. Yeah, so last time we covered different areas in mathematics. Remember, right now you're doing a prediction of Kcse 2024 in mathematics. Last time we covered an area in simultaneous equations, but today I want us to cover several areas. Remember, I've selected some areas, the ones which are have a high likelihood of coming in the Kcse, such that if you understand those concepts, maybe you'll be able to fetch several of the marks in your paper in the Kcse. So now for today, we'll cover several topics. And for our first topic, I've selected a question on quadratic equations. So here it is. Now, quadratic equation can also be solved by several methods. The first one is like the one I've used here to solve. You also have the graphical methods. Remember the quadratic graph, whereby you have a graph and you are given values to plot against, whereby you'll get the intersections. There you will get your values for the quadratic equation. But now for this case, we also have another method called a completing square method. In fact, I think there are around 3. You have this method here, the one that I've used. You have the graphical, and you have the completing square method. The completing square method, maybe probably you covered it in Form 4, I think the first 2 topics or something. So for now, in this case, I'm going to cover the simple method of solving quadratic equation, a very simple one that can save you time during your Kcse. Now, look at this question here. I've been given that find the value of x in the quadratic equation below. So first of all, even if you aren't told that this is a quadratic equation, how do you know that this is a quadratic equation? Now, a quadratic equation is always in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. If you see this one here, we have this one here. This is x squared, and the second value you have an x, and the third value you have a number, a value. So it doesn't have to be x all the time. It can be b squared plus minus 5b plus 6 equals to 0, something like that. So the letters might change, but in either case, in the first part, you'll be having a letter which is squared. The second part, a letter maybe with a value. And the third part will be only a value or a number that is, and then equals to 0. That's how you know whether your equation is quadratic or not now. And now for this method, I want to show you a good method of solving quadratic equations, time-saving method. So you've been given a question like that one, and now you've been told you are supposed to find the value of x. So the method I've used here is called the factorization method. Now, we have our equation as x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. So whatever I'm doing all here, I'm trying to expand this central value. You see this central value here, such that it can be factorized in both the first value and the third value. So there's usually a method called, you just call it product sum number. Now, this value, which I said this value is A, this value is B, and this value is C. For you to get the product is usually A times C. So in this case, A times C. The coefficient of x here is 1 times 6, which is a positive. So the product will be 1 times 6, which will give you to positive 6. I want you to understand very keenly here. Yeah? I'm using the factorization method. And in this method, whatever I'm doing is that I'm trying to expand this central value here, this central value. But how do I do that? I'm using a formula that helps me expand it efficiently. This formula, we call it just product sum number. Look here, product sum number. I'll derive all of this from here. So if you want to get the product, you use the first value and the third value, A and C, that is. So coefficient of the first value is 1 and the coefficient of the third value is 6. So positive 1 times positive 6 will give you to positive 6. Now, For the sum, it will always be the b value of the second value. As long as the equation is in the form of quadratic, it will always be the second value, which is coefficient is -5. Here is the sum, -5. Now, how do I use these two to find how to factorize my number here? So these two, I'll use them in such a way that I have to find numbers which when I multiply, they'll give me a +6, but when I add them, they'll give me a -5. So that's basically about it. You have to find values or find numbers in which when you multiply them, you get the product of this one, which is +6. And when I add them, it will give me -5. In my case, I searched for the values. And what did I get? -2 and -3. Look here. If I multiply -2 times -3, it will give me to +6. But if I add them, -2 plus -3, what do I get? I get a -5. So these numbers qualify for me to use them in solving the equation. Okay, this is a derived formula. It's just helping you to expand this equation. Now, what do I do here? I'll come here. You see the second value was -5x. If you take -2x, -3x, it will give you -5x. What does that tell you? That these numbers, whatever I did here, I just wanted to expand the second value here so that it can fit into both the first value and then that value. Look here now what I'll do here. I'll do it to be x squared minus 2x minus 3x, again this one here, minus 3x plus x is equals to 0. And then I continue to the next step. X squared minus 2x minus 3x plus x is equals to 0. Now from here, if you look at this equation, you realize that I can factorize this equation using a common factor. In the first case, I have x squared minus 2x. In both cases, in both this first part and the second part, I have an x. What does that mean? It means that I can factorize x outside. Look here, x into x minus 2. Why? If I open this one, it will get me back to this. Look here, x times x is x squared, which is this one here. Then minus 2 times x is minus 2x. So I've just factored x outside. And then I come to the second part. If you look here, you realize that I have a common factor also, minus 3x plus 6. 3 can go into both of these. That is -3. So if I factor -3 outside, I'll also get some other values inside the brackets. If I factor -3 outside, I'll get x minus 2 inside the brackets. How? If I open this one, it will be -3x. Then -3 times -2 is +6. So if I open it, it'll be giving me like -3x plus 6 is equals to 0. Okay. Now there's something very interesting that you realize after you factorize these numbers. You realize that the values in the brackets, they always tend to be similar to each other. Here I have x minus 2 and I have x minus 2. If you did it correctly, in most cases, these values will always be equal to each other. So what do we do with these values now? Since these values are equal, we'll just pick one of them to represent both of them. So I'll take the one that those on the outside, it will form one value, and those on the inside form one value. So the ones on the outside is x minus 3 here. X minus 3. Those are the ones outside the brackets. And then I'll put it into brackets. Then I'll take one of the two values, since they are the same, into x minus 2 gives you to 0. Now, up to this point, I hope you are progressing very well. Now, when I reach this step here, the next step now will be very easy. I'll be finding my values. I'll have to equate each of the brackets with the answer here. The answer is 0. So I'll take x minus 3 to be 0 and x minus 2 to be 0. In this case now, x minus 3 equals to 0. What is x? This -3 will cross over to the equal sign, become a positive. So we have x to be +3. And now, again, x minus 2 is equals to 0. So when 2 crosses the brackets, it will be x is equals to 2. I hope we are together, guys. So up to this point, I've solved my equation adequately and gotten the two values of x. X can be either 3 or x can be 2. Therefore, I'll give my answer as x is equals to 2 or x is equals to 3. So now, guys, if you not understood this equation, I'll do a very brief overview. Yeah, we have the equation x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0. We factorize. How do you factorize? Using product, sum, and number. You get the product, which is the first coefficient times the third value. The first coefficient is 1 times 6, 6. Sum, which is the second value, that is negative 5. Then you find values which qualify these conditions now, such that if you multiply them, they'll give you the product, and you add them, they'll give you the sum. These are the values in that case. Then these values will be used to substitute the second value, which is negative 5x. That's what I've done here. And then you factorize them into brackets, like this. Then you realize that in the brackets, the values will be equal. So you just pick one and then take the ones from the outside to form one value as well. So x minus 3 into x minus 2 equals to 0. Then you equate each one of them with the answer, which is 0. Then you get your answers. In this case, x is either 2 or x is 3. So yeah, thank you guys for paying attention up to that point. Let me post just a little. Maybe you may need to take a screenshot of this. Yeah. And so now, to test whether you've understood the concept, I want you guys to attempt this question. Let me get your answers in the comment section. X squared plus 4x plus 4 is equals to 0. Yeah. Find the values of x, or solve the quadratic equation. Let me see your values in the comment section so that I know whether you've understood the concept. So now let's cover our last question for the day. It's another different topic now. Today I wanted us to cover several topics which have a very high likelihood of coming in the Kcse 2024. Now let's get to this one here. Number 3 here. So the second question that I've selected, or rather the third question, it's on indices. Indices. That's a topic on its own as well. Indices. Look for this one here. It's saying solve for x in the equation. So we have our equation here. And now from our equation, as you can see here, we have 27 raised to power x times 3 raised to 2x minus 2 is equals to 9 raised to x plus 2. Now, I'm sure most of you have tackled indices. This was supposed to be a topic in Form 2, that is. So probably you shouldn't be having a lot of issues. But now this is a section 1 question mostly. It will be coming with around 3 or 4 marks depending on the way the question is set. So I've selected one of the most common ways of setting the indices. So we'll find such an equation, then you are told to find the value of the unknown. In this case, it's an x here. Solve for x in the equation. Now, if you look here, I have 27 raised to x times 3 raised to 2x minus 2 equals to 9 raised to x into plus 2 here. So in this case, I said this topic is called indices. Before I even tackle the question, let's discuss what is indices. Now, indices is a plural form. What is the singular form of indices? The singular form of indices is index. Index means power. Yeah? The moment I raise a number to a power, this is an index. I've raised 27 with an index. Which is the index in this case? X. You see? So when this index, okay, indexes are main, yeah, we form indices. We have this index here, and this index here. That's why you have indices in plural form. So that's basically the concept of indices. So now, whatever they want you to understand in this type of question, they want to know whether you can remember something you did in Form 1 called prime factorization. Yeah? They just want you to know whether you can express a number in form of its prime factors. Now, in this case, I have 27 raised to x, and okay, I already read the question. So if you look here, you realize that there's a number that cuts all across. You can get 3 here, you can get 3 here, and you can get 3 here. So that's what they want you to do, such that you find the powers for the respective numbers in form of 3. So When I take 27 and express it in the prime factor form, you'll get that it will give you 3 raised to power 3. When I say 3 raised to power 3, it means 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 multiplied by 3 by, then multiplied by 3 again. If I say 3 squared, or 3 raised to power 2 in this case, it is 3 times 3. So in this case, 3 times 3 gives you 9, then 3 again, okay, 9 again times 3 gives you to 27. So that's 3 raised to power 3. And then in this case, it's just 3. So I'll leave it as that. And then is equals to, this is 9 now. I have to express it in form of prime factors. It will give me 3 squared. So 3 raised to power 2 into x plus 2. And now you realize that I've made my bases to be similar. We said these are the indices on top here. But now these ones here, this one, and this one, these are the bases. If you look at the bases, I've made them to be equal. Now, one law of indices is that whenever you managed to make your bases to be equal, and you have an equal sign, mark that point. I have made my basis and I have an equal sign. I can drop the basis. That's a rule of indices. So what will I do? I'll drop all these three, and then I'll be working with the indices alone, because I want to find the value of x. So I'll drop all the bases. All threes will drop. I remain with the power. So I'll be having 3 times x, which is 3x here, then 2x minus 2. Then open, this will be 2 times x, 2x, then 2 times 2, 4. So 2x plus 4. Now, this is my question here. So I've opened the brackets, but now there's something else I want you to note here. In indices, if the basis had a multiplication sign, and then you drop the basis, you remain the indices, the multiplication sign will change into a plus or an addition. And if the basis had a division sign, maybe let's talk, for instance, I had a division sign here. When I drop the basis, the indices will be using the negative sign now. Positive goes with multiplication and negative goes with the division. That is, okay, negative division, positive multiplication. So now let's look at this one here. So I've dropped the basis and I've remained the indices here. So 3x plus 2x minus 2, which is in bracket, equals to 2x minus 4. I open it further. 3x plus 2x minus 2 is equals to 2x plus 4. So from this point, what do? Let me first add these ones here. 5x now minus 2 is equals to 2x plus 4. So from this point, since I want to find the value of x, I'll put the like terms together. So this 2x here will cross over to this side, and then negative 2 will cross over to this side. So when 2x, which is positive in this case, crosses over to the other side of the equal sign, it will change into a negative. Look here, 5x minus 2x is equals to now, then 4, this 4. And when it crosses to the other side, the negative 2 will become a positive. So 4 plus 2. 5x minus 2x is equals to 4 plus 2. So 5x minus 2x gives you to 3x is equals to 4 plus 2, which is 6. So if you divide both sides by 3, remember I want to remain with x alone, divide both sides by 3. That will give you x is equals to 2. So basically, that's the value of x. And as you can see, it's not complicated to solve indices. So for this one, unfortunately, I forgot to add a revision question for you guys, but go find questions now on indices and try to test your knowledge of whether you've understood the concept. So basically, guys, that's it for today. I wanted us to cover those two topics. So kindly remember to subscribe, share, and comment, and also share with your friends. Whenever you share knowledge, it sticks further. Like, okay, some people, let me use the one summer. Some people tend to understand better by sharing with others or discussing with others. So if in case you understood the concept, go show your friends or something of the sort. You can also share them the video so that they can watch as well. Sharing. Yeah, so basically that's about it, guys. So before I conclude, I've created several playlists and videos. If you go to my channel here, you'll find all the videos that I've created. And if you subscribe, probably you'll be You'll be informed whenever I upload a new video. So I've created